Hello and welcome to today's day 2 here at SMT Nuremberg. I'm going to be joined by a number of guests today to catch up on different topics, and the first person joining me today, of course, is Chris Palin from Humasil. Great to see you again, Chris.
Afternoon.
Afternoon. Okay. So you've got some really interesting news. You've recently bought a resin company.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Humasil's been known for many years for conformal coating, basically. Yeah. So we acquired a company called Resin Designs back in October last year, and the company basically fills gaps in our product line.
So it's a strategic acquisition.
Indeed, yes. Yeah. Very, very strategic for us. It moves us into the space of potting compounds, adhesives, thermal encapsulants, materials called Gel-Tech, which are waterproofing materials for connectors, gasketing materials. So it really expands our range significantly, but still in the realms of protection for electronics.
Right, and these will be sold through your normal distribution channels?
Yes, right now we completed training last week of our European distributors in Budapest. And yeah, a lot of interest.
Right, okay. Are they taking you into any different verticals than you're currently in?
Really, I guess a little. We're kind of traditionally in the circuit board areas. Yeah. So now we'll be moving into, I guess, the
screens and things like that.
Yeah, well, mechanical connectors, etc. One of the very good point, John. One of the materials is called LOCA. L-O-C-A, which is liquid optically clear adhesive, and this is basically the stuff that sticks the glass screen to the actual display, whether that's in a car, the big touchscreen TV type things. Phones, etc. So it's the adhesive between the two.
That makes that work.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting area.
It is. It's as you see, more and more cars have touchscreens. TVs are getting bigger. They're getting smarter. They have touch capability.
Right. One of the areas is damming and potting. I mean, that's taking you more into the semiconductor area, where you're not really working at the moment. You're really working in the board assembly business.
We are, yeah. Potting for us is there's many areas, as you say. Microelectronics, lower viscosity materials for coil protection, ignition coil, etc., and general protection for electronics, which is going to be, I guess we would term, in extremely harsh environments, under the sea or wherever.
Well, we wish you luck. Are all these materials obviously they're available now?
They are.
Brochure is downloadable, I guess.
It is. It's all up on our website. Take a look at the brochure. Get in contact with us, and it's all. Fingers crossed, all in place right now.
Good luck. Yeah, no, it's interesting stuff. I mean, you've been expanding quite a bit. You opened a new place in India recently.
We did, which is going very well.
Feet aren't touching the ground.
Indeed. We shall see you in India, I'm sure, in September.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Chris, thanks for joining us today.
A pleasure.
Old friend and industry colleague.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing, Trevor?
Very good. So there's some interesting things happening with you as well. You're here actually promoting a piece of hardware as opposed to chemistry.
Right, and it's an interesting thing because, of course, we're the materials people, right? It's all about cleaning, but part of our mission is of course, we've always had a strong focus on the environmentalism, and that's safe products, safe for the environment, safe for the people, safe for the equipment and the parts. But part of that is also using them efficiently and getting not only the maximum economy, but by using the least material, well, that's a little better for the environment as well. So to that end, we've introduced a new tool that we've always had some control systems and monitoring systems that we've sold for many years. Never spoke about them a whole lot, frankly. But this time, what we did is it all started out as it always did: new sensor, better mousetrap sort of thing. But yet we said, well, let's look at things here. Rather than have a gauge with a knob and something that could have been done many years ago, let's take a look at this and see if we can bring the data to life and really put it in people's hands. And that's what we've done. And we call it the Kaizen Analyst, and it's a sensor, but it's really this data package where
The traffic light system.
Absolutely. It's not only the numbers, but it allows the numbers to speak. So simple things like you have a range. Say you want to run something at say 15%, and you know, plus or minus 10% of that is okay. Is just perfect, and plus or minus 20% maybe is okay, but you want to stay within that band. So that means that if I'm at 13.5 to 16.5, well, I'm green, and I have a little smiley face on a screen somewhere, because everybody knows what that means.
Right.
And if I'm in that slightly larger band of maybe out, you know, less than 13.5 but more than 12, well now I'm yellow. I'm a bit cautionary, and I have a bit of a stoic, you know, sort of face. Yeah, you know, serious, not happy, but not sad. When we get outside of the band, now we're sad. And not only just that graphic display, which of course is quite easy and you can see from across the factory and that kind of thing, but set up email or text alerts that, oh gee, you're hitting one of these boundary lines. And let's face it, these boundary lines are the old XBAR charts, you know, kind of stuff, right? So you get the key data, and you get that alert and alarm that puts it there. And of course, you have all the data that you can download and track. That allows you to both monitor and document things for future reference. But if you do have some sort of system upset for whatever reason, now you can, you know, precisely what time you can tie that to the parts that you probably scanned and know what's going through the process. And this is a technology that will be, over the next year or two, be pulling across all of our monitoring and control devices.
So you're going to develop further?
Absolutely. It'll be on the Kaizen PCS sometime in the next couple of quarters. We've got the prototypes running, and there it's great. Again, you've got a very, you know, much richer data set because now you're monitoring many things.
Right.
Running many things, and when you line all those charts up next to one another, it just screams what's going on.
Wow.
So it's a powerful tool, and really it's what we're doing in our homes, right? You know, we get to look at our bank accounts and all this sort of stuff. Everything's got a curve or a pie chart on it.
Yeah.
It's not much different than that. We're just bringing it into our world, and frankly, there's not a lot of this in any sector of the assembly line, and certainly not on the cleaning side. So we're pretty excited about it.
So we're going to see Kaizen PCS
That's what we'll be. I expect that we'll have that ready for the market by Productronica. Absolutely.
Just one other quick question while I've got you here. Obviously, you're from Nashville, you're headquartered in Nashville, and you've been experiencing obviously the things happening with our Trump administration, and the latest changes onto Dodd-Frank, where they've basically brought back
proposed change. I don't think anything's changed.
It's not changed yet, but they're proposing to reduce the reporting on conflict minerals. There's some good reasons behind that. It's not proven that it's effective anyway.
Right.
But it could be that there's going to be some other EPA changes coming. What's your view on it?
Well, I think that you know, regulation and government activity are always a pendulum. You know, there's always someone thinks that it's too far this way, and someone on the other side, you know, thinks it's too far when it's that way. And we're in a state of transition. I mean, clearly, you know, this was an election result that surprised almost everyone, regardless of opinion. But we have a then candidate and now president who's perhaps not with the greatest amount of grace, but is busily doing what he said he'd do. You know, we usually scold politicians for not doing what they said they'd do, and you know, so whether you agree or disagree, there really aren't that many surprises. You know, the technique is difficult. Now, the challenge is, you know, our system of government is a little bit different, and it's not a parliamentary system, so the fellow in the head office doesn't automatically have parliamentary or legislative support for his initiatives, and like every other country, some things are regulatory, where the executive folks kind of do what they may, subject to their procedures, and some things are legislative, where, you know, that parliament or legislature's got to go along.
Right.
I think the only thing that we've demonstrated so far is that getting along thing is going to be a process that may be a lengthy process. So, you know, as far as coming back to conflict minerals specifically, I think while that's not you know, dead center on our world, it's many of our clients and customers, obviously it is, and that while that is only the best of intentions, I think in some ways it's been a classic example of the best of intentions that didn't achieve their goals. And while the goals are still absolutely you know, appropriate and wise, I think we need a better mousetrap. you know, to kind of get there. And as far as things like Dodd-Frank and EPA, you know, there's going to be changes there. And you know, I mean, Dodd-Frank, I know personally in some areas, it's a combination of fighting the last war coupled with, you know, trust no one. And fighting the last war has, you know, thousands of years of history of being a not terribly effective technique.
Right.
And trusting no one is just not a terribly good way to run a railroad, right? So, but yet, you know, there's been a lot of imbalances in those systems, and I think that the key to this stuff comes down to what is that right balance, and I don't know that Dodd-Frank is there. With the pieces that yeah, and I think it's going to evolve a lot. I don't believe that because so much of that is legislative, you know, that's going to be subject to
scrutiny.
Well, all that scrutiny is actually the wrong. It's going to be subject to compromise, because the fact of the matter is that the system needs people from both parties to get, you know, new legislation done, and part of that's a good thing. Okay, and so it means whenever no one's happy, then usually the legislative process has worked well, because everybody's had to compromise some, and if everyone's had to compromise some, well, then we're probably closer to where we ought to be, and we'll just sort of see how that goes. But I wouldn't stay up late at night waiting for the news. I think that's going to take a while to come to fruition.
I think it's absolutely going to take a while. Anyway, Tom, we're running on a clock here, so I want to thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
And we'll look forward to seeing the new Kaizen PCS at Productronica.
Terrific. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you for joining us today.
Bye-bye, Trevor.
All right. Okay. And it's my old friend Dave Bennett. Hello, Dave. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So you've got some interesting news about something that's in development at the moment. Well, it's being developed. It's just you'll be introducing it into Europe shortly, and that's your new MV3 Omni.
That's correct, Trevor.
Which is I think it's a desktop which has got a lot more features built into it than your standard desktop.
Yes, our standard desktop has been very successful in the market for several years. 2D based, using some laser height measurement, but predominantly relying on our 2D engine, and very successful. It has been for a long time, still is. We still sell lots of them. And based on the success that we have with the MV6 Omni, as you know, it became a tremendous product for our company, and made a few shockwaves when we launched that one into the industry. We decided we're going to do it again. And because we have such a strong foundation in tabletop as well as inline business, and we've noticed again that there's a level of customer that's still struggling, even though the prices have become far more accessible to the majority of companies. The MV3 Omni does that extra little cut for them because there's no conveyor system or anything in it. It's hand loaded, but other than that, it's a 6 Omni. It's got everything.
Right. So basically, it's a cut-down version of the MV6 without the automatic loading system.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it has the same cameras. In fact, we're launching a new 18 megapixel camera array, which is both top-down and angled cameras.
Okay.
That will be available on all of our models, but it will be also available on the desktop, which is an incredible specification for a desktop machine. Is an incredible specification for an inline machine.
Right.
So that's available. We also have our 8-phase lighting, which is multi-award winning. We use our digital moire sensors again, and you know, this combination on a tabletop is almost unheard of. But what it really does for the customers who don't need to put the machine in line, because in Europe we see so many islands where somebody is using an inline machine stood in the middle of an area, and they're loading it in different various forms, and it's a case of do they really need the rail? And we've spoken to our customer base and spoken to a lot of our MV3 users who are still on the 2D, and they're all looking longingly towards 3D, or do I have to go in line to, and we got together at Matrix and said, well, no, they don't have to go in line. You know, let's give them a
lot of these high-mix factory environments, you're seeing an offline AI system where an HEB is taking products across and that type of thing, you know, two islands. It doesn't need to be in line. So this seems to be the new.
I mean, I had a customer the other week, and they turned around and they said, we must have the absolute best inspection. We want the tightest lens that you can get, which is our 10 micron lenses. And we said to them, do you need it in line? Oh, no, we're only doing a handful of boards a day. But they were incredibly expensive and incredibly complicated. And when we saw, we sat down and discussed the spec, they said that's perfect. So we've actually got our first orders coming in already. We've already ordered the 3 Omnis, so the first ones will be hitting Europe quite soon.
Great. Okay. So anything else happening in Nortec that we should know about?
Well, the big thing, I guess, is the next camera range, which is the 18 megapixel, which I just touched on earlier. As you know, we have our own camera division, and the continual move towards optics, where we're able to start with a high field of view size and then use the best lenses to look down with incredible detail.
Right.
I mean, the more this industry miniaturizes, actually the better it falls into our remit.
I think the market is huge for you guys at the moment with all this inspection and data gathering.
But to be honest, for Mirtec, even our customers said to us, they said the harder the process becomes, the more you stand out. So it suits us.
Right. Well, I want to thank you for giving me that update on the new MV3 Omni. When will it be available?
It's available now, Trevor. We're taking orders now.
Okay, great. So we're going to be speaking to you shortly at our inspection debate, but before that, we have to speak with the Right Honourable Mr. Keith.
I'll stand away.
Next week in Copenhagen. Amsterdam, which is a collaboration between the Smart Group and SMTA. And here to join me is the chairman of the Smart Group, Mr. Keith Bryant. Hello, Keith.
Good afternoon, Trevor.
So maybe you can fill in some of the gaps on the conference next week.
Okay. We chose the topic of cleaning and coding and contamination because they're generally hot topics at the moment, with a lot of people going back to cleaning boards. There are quite a few conferences on cleaning and coding, and the elephant in the room at those conferences is always contamination.
Right.
So we've actually been bold and upfront, and we've gone for cleaning, coding, and contamination as the headline of the conference.
Well, it's a huge area. I mean, I think the crazy number that stands out here is that about 80% of the people that are conformally coating are not cleaning.
Yes, and you have to question what's going on underneath the coating.
Right. I mean, why would you want to trap all these contaminants under the coating? I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Well, the theory is that a lot of people believe that you keep the air and the water out, doesn't matter what's underneath. It can't do anything because it's not getting anything to activate it. Right. And frankly, that's not true of conformal coating.
Right. I'm pretty sure it isn't, yeah. And more importantly, as things continue to miniaturize, the need for it is going to only increase. So I think there's quite an education job needed there.
Yeah, not only the need for it, but the challenges.
Yeah.
When you look at QFNs and other almost, let's call them zero height components, you have to get a cleaning solution underneath them, and that cleaning solution has to actually work on the flux and get it removed, all within a short period of time, and then you need to dry it out afterwards, or you end up with let's say stored problems for the future underneath the component.
Right, okay. So what have we got, what can we expect next week? How many presentations have we got? How many, what kind of speakers have we got?
We've got 2 full days of presentations from leading guys in Europe and also from the US.
Yeah.
To start with, we have a half-day workshop which is included in the package on Monday, and it's really, I believe it's a whole industry first. It's been headed up by Bob Willis, but the other 2 guys that are sharing his platform, one is from Kaizen and one is from Zestron.
That's interesting.
So we have the 2 biggest cleaning competitors all working together in the same event.
Right. Well, that's going to be a fairly dynamic combination.
Yeah, we think it's interesting. The guys have all got together and they've all split let's say they've split the content between the 3 of them, so they all know what they're doing, and they're all really looking forward to it and definitely up for the afternoon.
Right. Okay. So let's change the subject a little bit. We'll keep on events, but we'll move it across to Asia.
Okay.
Occasionally you do put on your Global SMT roving hat sometimes and help us out at events. And you're going to be visiting NEPCON Thailand in the next few weeks. Tell me a little bit about the Thai business over there, the electronics business in Thailand. I mean, it was really badly affected a couple of years ago with serious flooding. Has it recovered from that, and what's the shape of it now?
The area that was hit has recovered very well,
but a lot of the business is down in the south and the middle. That was not really affected at all.
Okay.
And the business, it's growing. The big multinationals are there, some Japanese companies are there, but also now you're getting, let's call them indigenous Thai companies that are really starting to grow.
Okay.
A lot of them in power electronics and tier 2 automotive, but they're really, let's say that they're embracing the global needs of the business. So they're very much focused on yield, on reliability of product and quality and all of these things. So there's been a real turnaround in the last 5-6 years.
Right. Okay. That's great. That's great. So we look forward to getting that. That's you'll be reporting from the show for us. And is it looking like it's going to be a busy show this year?
Yes. I mean they call it the busiest ASEAN show. Okay. Obviously it's not a NEPCON China, but they say that it's the biggest show, if you like, within Asia outside of China.
Right.
There are a lot of principals going there. There are a lot of local distributors, and there are a lot of, the big Asian distributors like WKK and DNIV and these kind of guys are also there.
Okay.
So yeah, it should be a really good event. I'm looking forward to it.
What are the dates? Can you remember?
Oh, can I remember? Yeah, you put me on the spot now. 22nd to 24th of June.
Okay.
And it's in BTEC in Bangkok.
In Bangkok. Okay.
Which
Great.
again is a great exhibition center. It's very easy to get to.
Right.
It's very well laid out. So, and weather will be as nice as here in Nuremberg, I'm sure.
Well, I certainly hope so. Well, that kind of brings us to the end of the program here for this today. I want to thank all of our guests for being here, and hope you can join me again tomorrow for the wrap-up from SMT Hybrid Packaging here in Nuremberg.